financial report, they said that the water system had an outstanding payable to the city of approximately $170,000 and change. And over the past couple of months, this council's been petitioned by the citizens of the Deer Creek Water System to give them what they believe is rightfully theirs. And I don't see how, after all the overwhelming response that we've gotten from them, they would deny giving back what's right with the cities. So I want to make a motion that whether we do it on a payment plan as previously set up, which is a 10-year payout, of which we're 3 years behind in, I want to make a motion that we, the city, get our money back, caught up on the 10-year payout, and continue to get that payment on a yearly basis, not to overburden the water system by paying it all at once, but to get caught up and continue to make the payments. And I think it's a reasonable request on behalf of the city. Yeah, it's a motion.
I'll second the purpose of the discussion.
All right, I'll entertain discussion.
I got, did everybody get the letter from Mr. Sheridan?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Do you want me just to read it?
Well, Bruce asked first. You want to deal with the Larry?
Yeah. No, if you ask first, by golly, I want you to read it.
I wasn't planning on reading it.
Lucky one, right?
No,
I think the mayor deferred to you first, so I think if somebody's going to go for it, I will go first.
Mr. Sheridan's letter, there's about 2 or 3 areas in there. It looks like there's a little bit of an accounting issue where we transferred money into the wrong account. So at our last audit report, it discovered there was a total of $179,350.60 due to the general fund.
Of the city, is that correct?
Yes.
General fund of the city. not-
General fund of the city. And $3,211.83 was revenue deposited in the wrong account. According to our accountant, these funds were building permits in April 2012 and garbage franchise taxes and a refund on a seminar in June of 2012. $5,253.49 was payroll allocation that should have been attributed to the general fund and not the enterprise fund. My suggestion is we transfer the total of these 2 discrepancies, a total of $8,455, from the enterprise fund checking account into the general fund checking account.
So that's $8,465 of money that was the city's just deposited in the wrong account.
Wrong account, right.
Okay. So
That's a separate issue from what
Separate.
the motion and the
And
second.
now that one should be handled anyway, just because of accounting error.
But that's a second motion. Now, if I'm understanding Mr. Wood's motion, that's not what, the motion was for the 170. He said it changed, 895.11.
Right, okay, so the remaining balance of $170,895.11 was actually money the city spent to drill wells and build the water tanks that serviced the lakes of Aledo. The idea was, according to the notes I had taken from the mayor at that time, was that this would be paid back to the city's general fund over a period of 10 years. Once the Deer Creek water system was purchased and operational, I think you would consider this an account receivable. However, this paycheck has never been started, or the payback has never been started. My suggestion is, in light of the fact that we do not have the final numbers for the new wells, that we leave the money in the enterprise fund until we have at least completed the proposed well and it is operational. You may want to wait until a 3rd well proposed on the north side of the system is drilled and operational also. I realize the city could use the money, but I would hate for us to come up short on the enterprise fund and have to borrow money to complete the proposed well. This was written by Chuck Sheridan. Now, that's what you're
right.
and reading on there now.
And as the mayor said, it's actually two different issues, not one.
Right.
So first, I'm gonna make a motion that the $8,465.32, I make a motion.
You have a motion on the floor in a second.
Okay, sorry.
We can catch that after if
We
you
can do
like.
it after.
Okay.
I was trying to do it in order with what he did, because that's okay.
Yeah, the $170,000, technically, if we had started paying it back, hadn't been paid back, so we're in almost the end of our third year now, so that would be about 10 years, what's that, 17,000 a year?
Right.
So there's approximately 51,000 that should be received here come this September, I guess, right time on that. To answer the question, I would have to go back in and look at our finances on our enterprise system. Last week, Chuck made a comment when we said we want a city public works manager, he said we can't afford it. So based on his comment, why we can't afford it, that's what I want to find out. If we can't afford it, then obviously the water system can't pay us back. If we can afford it, then maybe the water system could pay us back. That's what I'm trying to figure out now. Where are we at with our water system? Can't make a call on this until I know, is the water system standing on its own? Or are we in debt? Are we not making it, or what?
I can unequivocally tell you we're in debt.
That's probably a valid statement, I agree with that.
The question there is the word operational, I think, Bruce.
I think it's
What's
cash
operational?
flow. I think the word we're looking for is cash flow. It's not whether or not we're in debt or operational. I think everybody would argue that homes are getting water, therefore it is operational at some level. It may only be 80% operational, maybe 90% operational, maybe 40% operational, but it is somewhat operational. I think the words you're looking for is cash flow. Do we have the cash flow from the water system to pay it back?
We don't know. We don't know. We've been asking this question going on 3 or 4 months now. We still don't have answers.
Water Advisory Committee gave a very thorough report, and they were unanimous in their answers and their responses. And what they stated, and I'll summarize, was get the improvements in so we can sell more water, and then we'll know. And until those improvements are in, we don't know exactly what they may cost. I mean, we've already had one dry hole, unanticipated, but it can happen. You have acquisition costs and things like that. The model does show that with those other improvements online, we'll be able to sell water maybe without any restrictions at all, which would be one of the rare people in this part of the country to be able to say that. Everybody else is having some more water restrictions and going up on their rates. So I like the idea of having a goal to shoot for, a timeline, but I don't know until we know exactly what it's going to cost us to get the rest of those improvements that are planned in. The way I'm reading this is Chuck's worried that if we end up spending more than what we have borrowed, we're going to need some cash to finish the job and not stop short, so that we can sell enough water to cash flow.
How much is the well on the north end of the project is estimated to cost? Where will we find the location? Anybody know?
The well cost is easier to figure than the location cost, and the distance and the pipelines and what we have to cross. It can vary quite a bit. 2 locations that were discussed earlier, the purchase of the first property was offset when that deal didn't go by the land being donated on the second deal, but we had increased costs due to pipeline. So it was relatively the same, but those 2 sites are no longer on the table. So that's a good question.
Well, I'm wondering if the agreement that the split rail golf course did years ago, they had a location there. We had that location. They would give us that location on the golf course.
At next to Old Nether Road?
There's what?
Next to Old Nether Road?
Well, that's-
Okay, are you talking about
That whole, that whole, like 10th hole. They were gonna, that's where the agreement that Razavan passed out to us last week, or last week. They were going to drill a well.
Right.
At that location on the golf course. Now, I understand that maybe that agreement is drawn or whatever, but if we could get them to donate the land, even though they don't have to pay for it. That could be a possibility. I mean, that's,
It's something we don't know, and we're getting a little bit away from the motion. It's an unknown. We all wish we knew.
Now, based on the numbers that Mr. Sheridan has provided us, it seems like we're doing, that's why I say we don't have all the numbers in there, but we're not losing money. And if we keep the maintenance down, we're making money, even at the water we're selling right now. But I can't tell you how much. That's the problem I'm having here, is going through the numbers in there and figure out how much we actually are. We're not supposed to be making money per se on it, but we covering ourselves and making sure we have enough to provide for growth and everything else as repairs. So I'm assuming right now, do we have a maintenance guy in here? I see.
He doesn't really want to speak.
I give you the opportunity if you like. I mean,
Wait a moment, for what purpose?
well, I don't get a warm fuzzy, how are we doing out here? Water-wise, we're doing great, we're serving people, things aren't broke, we're charging for it, right? But are we at a position where we can actually reduce the cost? Not by a lot, but not.
Until you have those improvements that were modeled, that were suggested, that was put forth by the city of Hudson Oaks and our engineer, when those improvements are in and you start to realize the anticipated increase in revenue because people are buying the water that's available. There's no doubt they want to buy the water. Even in the restrictions, the people in the ETJ continue to water, and they got metered for it. They didn't water and not get metered for it. They got metered for it, they got a bill and they pay. So they're buying the water as much as we can provide. What we have to do is make sure the improvements are online so that it doesn't jeopardize the health, safety, and welfare of the other users of that system. The idea is you give them enough water, they'll buy it, and those last gallons are far more profitable than those first gallons. So there's where it is somewhat of an unknown, even though it's modeled, but if we could sell that additional capacity, once these improvements are in, I don't think it would be a problem for the water system to pay the city back, maybe even quicker than the 10 years. But before that time, nobody really knows what could happen. I'd hate to use the word cash flow. I'd hate to strap the water system to pay the city money that they might not be able to afford until those improvements are on.
What's it gonna take to actually go through our water budget, our enterprise system item by item, so we're all familiar with the numbers?
You mean different than than the finance workshops that we've had, or the audit report that was given, or the meetings that we've had? City of Hudson Oaks? Different.
Yes.
What other questions are you asking?
Well, I get this report here, and I can't make head or tails out of it. It's not adequate for me to make a determination right now. Should I vote for this motion or shouldn't I? I can't make a decision. Not enough information here right now.
Any other discussion? I'm going to call for a vote on the motion. We have a motion to move the money. Did you state how you want to do it, the 10-year pay act? Is that what your motion was? Based on the 10-year payout? Yeah. Based on the 10-year payout, would you like to clarify that motion for the starting point?
My motion is that we move forward with the 10-year payout on the debt owed to the city by the water system.
Starting today. We're going back to,
I'm okay with that, whichever way you want to go. That's why I had it out for discussion, to see which way the council wants to go.
You need to define that starting point.
All right, then we start today. That's September 1st, the first payment's due.
Any other discussion? You have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Unanimous?